Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another GeneaVlogger live stream. On today's live stream, we will be building Britney Spears' family tree. So welcome, everybody. I think we are starting a little late today. Going to do the typical and go through all of our hellos. So we have Tasha coming in from Minnesota. Glad you're enjoying the watch while you're working. Drea coming in, a common one on the streams. Love the startup screens. Are these new or have I just been late to the past few streams and missed them? I started this on the last live stream was the first time I did it. So basically I've been playing around a lot with AI and stuff. And so I was playing around and had a lot of logos made up that I actually thought were really cool and haven't decided how I wanted to use them, if I wanted to or not. Because, there's the ethical question of AI stuff. But was like, let me throw them into a fun little intro screen for the lives. And then for anyone who noticed, I have my head popping up in little random spots throughout that. So hello, David. Hello, Jordan, someone who is on our Discord server, which if you don't know, we have a Discord, very active community. Very cool. Crystal Calderwood, glad you're able to catch this live even early. Yeah, you got here before we even started. We have Maven coming in from the internet. And great way to come in, especially for someone who's another one of our common folks from Discord server. And speaking of which, we also have Ascertain20 here as well. Anika74 coming in from Wisconsin. We have George Steele coming in from Massachusetts. Sajuka coming in from Ukraine. Irpin, if I remember. We have John Tyner from Ireland. We have Ariel Star. Her Victorian ancestors probably hittest my baby once more. Very funny. I actually haven't even looked at her tree much beyond just getting our parents and grandparents. So I know she does have a big tree. I did look a few weeks ago on Genie when I first put her into the polls as an option. But yeah, so today's going to be interesting. I'm going to have the have all of you in chat choose which way we're going to go up the tree. So yep, Crystal coming in from Portland. Thank you very much. Glad you're here. Did we have to count how many Jareds popped up in the video during that time? No, you don't have to, but you're more than welcome to. Hello, Weeping Scorpion coming in from the Faroe Islands. We also have Michelle Bates from My Genealogy Roots coming in from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Welcome, Michelle. Karma coming in from Nebraska. Hi. How are you doing, Karma? Alexandra coming in from Koblenz, Germany. Hello, Alexandra. We have M. Park from Finland. Luam Souza from Brazil. Welcome very much. I feel like I have a pretty big audience from Brazil, but I don't see a lot of my Brazilian audience interacting very intently a lot. So it's great to have you on here. Although we did have an admin for a while, he no longer is an admin with us. Although he's very much beloved by the channel still. Mattias, I was about to say Mattias Gianti, Matteo. What is his last name? Why I don't need to say his last name, but used to be on the Discord server, unfortunately left for personal reasons. Karma AI still needs to some work. Heard an electronic voice completely mispronounced crochet. I'm not AI. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Crocheter. I guess is that it? Crocheter. We have Vane Andeloft. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Coming in from Chile. Welcome to the stream. So we've got a good representation from South America on the stream today. So let's go ahead and share the screen while I go over some of the typical stuff I usually say when we start these. Let's see. Is that better? No, this one's better. All right. So yeah, crocheter. Okay. You see that. So as usual, I have the tree built up basically for now. I'm going to be building the tree. And while this is going to be the focus today, I will keep my eye on chat and try to answer questions. If you do have questions, I don't guarantee that I will be able to answer all questions that come into chat. But one thing I do try to guarantee is that if you do a super chat or super stick or whatever, I will guarantee that I answer those. So if you do have a question that you really want me to answer on this stream, you can do that. Part of the reason just being that when people put those up, it actually pops up on my screen and it's something that stays there until I click it. Whereas if you just put something in chat, if chat's going quick, it's kind of hard to read it. Even with, my streams being, I guess, on the kind of smaller end, I usually range between about 40, 50 people to maybe 80 to 100 on the high end. Right now we're rocking 46 people, most of you on YouTube, but a few on Facebook, a few on Twitch. But beyond that, let's just kind of jump into the tree. So we have Britney Spears, Britney Jean Spears, which I for some reason I always thought her middle name was Britney Lynn Spears. But maybe that's just because her sister Jamie Lynn Spears. I don't know. But her parents, Jamie Parnell Spears and Lynn Irene Bridges, and then her grandparents. And like I said, I really haven't looked much into the tree beyond, a couple of weeks ago when I did. So I'm going to leave it all to you all to choose which way do we go up. So basically, considering each grandparent 1, 2, 3, and 4, I want everyone to put in chat, which do you want? Which way should I start researching? Should I go paternal grandfather number 1, paternal grandmother number 2, maternal grandfather number 3, or maternal grandmother number 4? And gosh, of course, as soon as I do this, I think about the fact that I still haven't taken the time to figure out how to actually put up polls yet, which I'm pretty sure that I can. I just need to actually figure out how. Let's see. Can I do it from here? I probably have to do it from here if I do anything. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to actually we're going to do a poll, but it's only for those, unfortunately, on YouTube. So we're going to start that poll. Okay, so hopefully that's working. It looks like it's working. So, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Leslie. I just noticed that as soon as I jump back in. Love your content. Thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate it very much. It helps out the channel greatly. So let's see what the poll is doing. So far, it's looking like paternal grandfather's winning. Nobody cares about the maternal grandfather. Oh wait, no, we have some. So yeah, let's see. Oh, I'm looking back at some of the other chats I missed. Thank you, Karma. I did better than AI. The AI pronunciation is that's funny. Not safe for work for YouTube nor TikTok, where I unfortunately heard it. Yeah. All right, so let's see. I think we'll give it just a little bit more. We only have 19 votes with 46 people watching, so, or at least 46 people watching on YouTube. We actually have 50 people watching total. So give it just a little bit. I mean, it looks like it's going to be the paternal grandfather, but yeah, June Austen Spears. So right now he's the one in the lead. Let's get this up here. Save to tray. All right. It's been sitting at 20 votes for a minute, so I'm just going to end the poll there. And the winner at 40% vote is number 1, paternal grandfather June Austen Spears. And I'm guessing, I think there's always kind of a general interest with people in terms of the paternal grandfather, because it's kind of like the maternal grandmother when you have that pure paternal line or the pure maternal line. I guess part of it, from a genetic genealogy standpoint, is the Y chromosome and the mitochondrial DNA. But with the Y chromosome too, I guess, or not just the Y chromosome, but with the paternal line, that's also the surname line. So it's kind of like, where did the surname come from? Because that's such a today thing. So what we're going to do is we'll get a bunch of stuff added in, kind of our slightly quick and dirty tree method. And he's a senior, so we'll update that. And then we get his parents, June Bako Spears. I mean, because I think they're in Mississippi, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a French style pronunciation. Bako, June Bako Spears. Je m'appelle Jarette. Wait, no, je m'appelle, right? Not je m'appelle. Je m'appelle. J'habite in the United States. So get that added in. You should do Tom Brady next. I might throw him in the next poll, just so everybody knows. For those who are not familiar, the way that I'm choosing these, and actually I didn't even go over that yet today. I need to show how Britney Spears was chosen. So I've been doing polls. Most of the polls have been on my community chat in YouTube, but for this poll today, I decided that I wanted to leave it to my Discord server. So here's a quick view of the Discord for everyone that's not familiar. And so we had a poll today whether we continued building Elon Musk tree or jump into one of these others, and Britney Spears won by a long shot. So I'm going to be doing polls in different places. I might do a poll on for just my Patreon patrons, so it's just going to be the Patreon patrons that get to choose, and just different stuff like that. But for the Discord server, I will have polls there as well. So if you're not familiar, jump into our Discord. And one of the things that we're going to start doing too, that I just set up, but it's not live yet, is we're going to have forums where after these live streams, everyone can jump into the Discord and continue the discussions about the family trees. And if you want to keep building these trees, that's a great place where you can go and all discuss it together in a forum style setting. So right now I have all of these set up for the past 4 that we've done, which were Taylor Swift, Michael J. Fox, Martin Luther King Jr., and Elon Musk. Those haven't gone live yet, but they will soon. Oh my gosh, of course, I'm blocking it. I just noticed I'm blocking it. Right down here is what I'm talking about. Okay, so enough of that stuff. Let's actually get into the tree. So let's see. Do I want to keep adding or go up? So let's go up the tree. So Ruthie Ritchie Spears. Interesting. I guess, I did not know, unless I just added something incorrectly. Let's take a look. Okay, so the grandfather was married twice. So Emma Jean Forbes. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering what was going on. Yeah, one of the annoying things I have with adding stuff on Ancestry sometimes is when you put in the correct stuff. Actually, I'm going to need that. It's the proper mother, Emma. It doesn't put in the right biological parent sometimes. You have to go in and fix it. And personally, I don't like to mark step parents. Like, I know a lot of people going in here and add this, but the problem is it just makes the tree look so clunky. So I just want to make sure this stuff is nice and cleaned up. So yeah. Okay, that clicking too fast. So And as I'm doing this, let me know, what do you all want to do in terms of, should I look into June Austen Spears story, or should we build the tree back? Like, what? Actually, here, I'll do it. I'll do another poll. Let's make use of this poll stuff. Start a poll. What should we do? Explore June's story, or trace the line back as far as possible? Of course, it's too much words. So I'm further back. Further back. That'll work. Okay. So for those in YouTube, jump on over. Why is it showing that? What is it doing? Oh, that's why. Okay. Okay, hopefully. So let's see what everyone chooses. I'll kind of, let me check through chat. So okay, George Clooney has a link to Abraham Lincoln. I think, doesn't Tom Hanks too? Oh wait, yeah, the Lincoln Hanks trees. But what about George's White House? Okay. Yeah, Scott, my family tree on Ancestry is so confusing. There's a lot of information that isn't correct, but it takes so much time to fix it. There's a lot I don't really know for sure, along with certain branches of my family being adopted, so much to go through. Yeah, it's very difficult. One of the reasons why I really like Genie over Ancestry in terms of their navigation is it just makes it so much easier to navigate and have complicated relationships, where Ancestry, I think part of it is Ancestry tries to make it simple, but by making it simple, when things start to get complicated, it gets too complicated. And I feel like Ancestry people seem to have much more difficulty doing very basic changes, like what I just did there, where I changed the mother to the correct mother. A lot of people don't know how to, like, that's one of those things that a lot of people I often will teach when I do one-on-one sessions with someone going through their tree, and they're like, well, I'm trying to clean up the tree and I'm not sure how to change this. And it's, that's a common one I see. Yeah. Do I know if anyone else in her family tree with bipolar disorder? Yeah, not really something that is something I would know. So all right, let's see. We're at 20 votes. I mean, that's what we got to on the last one. Oh, it's going up a bit more. We're getting a few more people. Although I think trace the line further back is winning. I don't think there's going to be much change to that. So I'll end it there at 22 votes. 72% said trace the line further back. So we'll go the quick and dirty method. And what I'll do too, I'm just going to make the assumption that everybody really wants to see that pure Spears line. So we're just going to keep tracing up that Spears line. And we'll do it the quick and dirty method, but not the overly dirty method. So I'm still going to be using records and such. So let's see, Pascal and Mary. I wonder if they, so I guess maybe they're Italian, or I guess no, Pascal would be a common French name too, isn't it? I don't know. Okay, so Mother PG, Pauline. Mary Pauline. Okay. Don't want to add the Genie Net because I don't like adding those ones. Let's go with the 1910. Let's see, Daniel, what I'd love to see is the ability to make tentative trees or side trees where you're investigating potential relatives, but don't necessarily want to add them to your own tree. Yeah, those are the really difficult researches. That's often where you have two families that you're fairly certain they're related for some reason, but you just don't have the records to show it. I've yet to see software that's any good for that. I mean, I guess the best thing for that at this point is DNA, testing, because if you have two trees where you can't figure out how they're actually connected and you do DNA testing, that'll at least give you the idea, is there actually connection there, or could you be wrong with that? Brian Nash from How We Got Here Genealogies here. Good day, eh? Hello, Ryan. Welcome. Okay. So, yeah, let's go ahead and add this big old family here. So, are we 19? Okay, I'm going to add this, and then we're going to do the 1900 census. And then I just want to see. So, he's James here. James J. Wait, no, hold on. Go back. Because what it showed me, it said June B, but now it's saying James B. And not that it says that it's not him, but just me wanting to be slightly careful. I just want to see. And it actually does say June B. How would anyone think that's James? Ridiculous. Some people that do indexing, like I did some indexing when, which census would that have been? The 1930? Was it the 1930 or the 1940 census? Yeah, I guess it would have been the 1940 census. I helped do the indexing with Family Search, where they had that software that you download, and then you get pages of the census and you index it, and basically you got to be a part of history and indexing it. And even to this day, I'll get emails from them. It's actually kind of cool, where it'll say somebody just added a tree, or somebody added a document that you indexed to their tree on Family Search, and it's like, oh, that's cool. I helped someone do that. But when people do that, sometimes stuff just comes out wrong. And especially when it's OCR technology doing it, optical character recognition, that stuff can get really incorrect. All right, so we'll continue up that line. I'm not going to worry about figuring out Mary's maiden name right now. Let's see if we can build on Pascal. Joshua J. Spears, Berthany A. McCleven. Berthany, that's an interesting name. Interesting. Let's put this here. Okay. Find a grave. Yeah, I'm cool with find a graves. Find a grave. Pascal Green appears. I don't know why I didn't notice that before. Oh my gosh. Let's put that there then. Just go ahead and add in all of this stuff. Mary P appears. She appeared. Major Purnell Spears. Mary Magdalene Spears, because I always stick with the maiden name. Sometimes one of the things I'll do is when it comes up like this, where it has the married name and I know the maiden name, I won't change it just yet, because then when I go to do research or just, figuring out who's the spouse, well, if I already have the married name, that makes it easier. Whereas if I've changed it to the maiden name, and then it's very difficult to find that connection without already having that hint at your fingertips, it just makes it more difficult. All right, let's add that in. Okay, dokay. And because Barthany is such a cool name. Barthany Spears. Mississippi, I mean, they've got deep Mississippi roots. Okay. So it is Berthany Barth. So, I mean, we've got multiple censuses showing that. But, okay. 80 years old. Born 1820. Yeah, okay. Because 1900 census is so cool. This is going to tell us how many children she had. She had 8. How many were alive? Now that looks like 1, but I imagine some of you may be able to see it on your screen where it looks like it's actually a 6. Like, I don't know if you all see that, but on my end, it looks like it's like a 6, but the like bubble got ripped out, or like it's too faint and it ends up looking like a 1. But that could also be that they wrote 6 and then somehow got the ink erased enough to look like a 1. So I don't know. But, you know, we at least can tell Barthany had 8 children, and at least 1 was alive in 1900, but I'm presuming it'd be 6. If it's just 1, then it would be the son, or not this son, Percy, but the son that'll be over this way. So yeah, so this would be Thomas and Jean. So Thomas would be the son of Bethany, one of the sons. So, but here she is 1850 at 30 years old. Now, what's her maiden name? So they go with McElveen. And let's see if any of these trees have something that actually shows the McElveen name and not just some sort of... Is it on Find a Grave? Well, Find a Grave does have it. Not always the best way to prove it. But McElveen. So I mean, it seems likely. I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to go ahead and add it in. We're just going to add it in. Britannia. So McElveen. So Barthany. That is kind of Britney Spears. Britney Spears. All right, let's keep going up. And actually, hold on. Let's take. Well, I mean, obviously, we're going to take a quick look at Joshua Jackson Spears, but being in Louisiana in the 1800s, see if he worked or fought in the Civil War. Land record from 1850s. To all whom these presents shall come, greeting, whereas Joshua Jackson Spears of Pike County, Mississippi, which I believe that's actually where Britney Spears was born, was Pike County. Yeah. So Britney Spears, born in Pike County, 100 plus, long time in Pike County. So, but interesting though, because Joshua Jackson, born in Louisiana, dies in Louisiana in different parishes, obviously, which is basically a county for those unfamiliar with research in these areas. Instead of calling it a county, they call it a parish. Okay. Let's see. William Ezel. Here we go. J. William Spears of the District of Union. Okay. So very interesting. His mark. Oh, that's a pretty interesting mark. Most people just did kind of like a single X. He actually went for something specific. So, and it looks like I'm looking. Let's see. Yeah, we do have people signing. So it wasn't not always, but every once in a while I'll see documents where they only have a place to mark it, not actually sign it. It's not super common, but I've seen it enough that whenever I do see people leaving marks, I'll just double check other parts of the records to see if are people signing it or is everyone just leaving a mark. But yeah, interesting. So this is Joshua Spears. And yeah. All right. So our folks tracing back further don't see anything in terms of Civil War related records, which I feel like usually if you find someone fighting in the Civil War, though it usually appears in ancestry hints. Not always, but I mean, granted, he's also, I mean, he's not super old, but he's in his 40s once the war comes around and has a bunch of kids, I imagine. Yeah, so let's see, 1860. Joshua Jackson living with Bethany, and then they've got at least, well, let's see, can we see how old AE is? So yeah, these were the 1860 census was, or I guess the 1870 census is probably one of the first where it gets really into information, but like the 1860 census and a lot, it slowly each decade the federal census gets a lot more information, but we're kind of at one of the ones I like to think of as the in-betweens, where it's like you're getting the names of everyone in the household, or at least enough, some information, but just not enough of everything. But all of these presumably their children. So what is that? 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 children. And this is 1860s. He's a planter. I assume that's what it says. Value of estate owned $3,000. Value of personal real estate $5,200. So he does own land. He owns land and has a house. But doesn't seem to own any slaves or anything. And didn't fight in the war, but it's certainly possible that he had brothers or children who did. Because that AE especially, let's see what happens to AE. All right, so we have Britney Spears, not Bethany, AE and residence 1860. And what was his age? Because it showed his age, but they didn't have it indexed for some reason. Yeah, AE 15. So 15 in 1860. So he's born about 1845. So yeah, he would have been the perfect age to fight. And with Pascal born 1862, we know that Pascal's not going to be in this list. So, oh, it didn't. Okay. Aha, they do know who he is. And look at that muster roll right off the bat. Yeah. So Captain Rhodes, Confederate, Company F, fourth. This is such a. Let's see if we can find a better image of it, because I'm sure there's prisoner of war. He was a prisoner of war. Interesting. Of Company H-38 Consolidated Regiment of Cavalry. Okay, so it was cavalry. Confederate States Army commanded by Colonel Jono, I don't know, McGurk, surrendered at Citronelle, Alabama by Lieutenant General R. Taylor, Confederate States of America, to Major General, is that F or E? ERS Canby, USA, May 4th, 1865, and paroled at Gainesville, Alabama, May 12th, 1865. Wow, became a prisoner of war right at the end. So let's see. Surrender, Citronelle, Alabama. So not Britney Spears' ancestor, but a brother of her ancestor Pascal. So Britney Spears, parents, grandparents. So we've got Pascal, her second great grandfather's brother. A.E. Spears was part of this stupid surrender at Citronelle, Alabama. End of the war in the East. The last major Confederate army east of the Mississippi surrendered beneath an oak tree north of Mobile, Alabama on May 4th, 1865. Wow. When was the I'm never the best at Civil War history. When was the Appomattox courthouse? April 9th. Okay. So that's interesting. So the surrender after Appomattox. Wow. That's pretty cool. And that was, let's see if there's a find a grave. Oh, look at that. Look at that. You can tell. Oh, I was going to say this was done by a genealogist, but it's just taken straight from a book. Yeah, these are the stuff that it's like, it's just so much information of names you don't get. Since I feel these types of paragraphs are the things that people are like, why do people enjoy genealogy? I don't understand. And I feel like a lot of times when they think of it, they think of stuff like this, where it's like, this guy was the son of these people, and he married this person, and then they had these children, and then this person married this person, and they have these children. And then it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess it's interesting, but it's just a huge list of names. Whereas like what we're doing right now, like we're actually looking into the story of like what happened. Yeah. So yeah, just super interesting to go about it that way. That's that one. That's the pre-done. So let's see if we can get a better idea of AE's service. Andrew Everett Spears. Let's do this too. Oh, I spelled Everett wrong. And Andrew Everett Spears. All right, let's do this then. Andrew Spears. I guess we'll do Louisiana and Alabama. Oh, wait, no, I did Mississippi. Wait. Louisiana, Mississippi. Okay. Getting it all mixed up. All right, so Andrew Spears, and we're looking at 1845 to 1935. 1882. Osika, Magnolia Gazette. Okay, not enough to know if that's truly him. I wonder if we could do, let's see if we'll start. Let's start with Andrew E. Osika man passes his 90th birthday. Andrew E. Was that what we saw earlier? No, dies. Here's widely known in Pike County. Present on this occasion were Fred, Ben, and H.C. Spears, sons, and Miss Valina, daughter. Yeah. Oh, wow. Carl Weathers died. Really? Wow. Yeah. Sad. He's one of those guys that I feel like he's just in so much. That even if you didn't know him, you knew him. Like if you didn't know who he was one of those actors that you've seen him or heard him in something. So, and didn't he actually play football too? Yeah. Interesting. All right. Little aside for this. He was also in Happy Gilmore. Yeah, he played Chubbs. Okay. All right. So we've got this Andrew E. Spears. I saw him coming up as A.E. Spears. So let's see what it looks like for that. Ooh. We do have a lot of Mrs. A.E. Spears. Stuff 1930s. Sort by oldest. Thomas Wilson. To corner Osika. So, I mean, he seems to be in Osika. So, whenever we see Osika, it seems that it probably is likely him. What's funny is when I do my YouTuber Family Tree series, a lot of times the real interesting stories I find are things that I first find through newspaper articles. And especially when I'm trying to figure out what was going on at the time, just reading the articles around the time. No, that's definitely not it. Just super helpful. All right. I know this is going to be unlikely, but just to try it. Yeah, nothing. Okay. So Andrew Spears. All right. You know what? I'm not going to focus too much on it. I do just want to figure out a little bit. Oh, there he is. Andrew Everett Spears. So, what's this story or event? Wasn't this what we saw earlier? Yeah, we saw this. Appointed overseer of road from Osika to Amite County line. William Caterer. Okay. Appointed overseer of road from Osika to Amite County line. Cool. Ooh. Oh, okay. I thought this was going to be some sort of old letter, but I guess it's just more of an old writing about him. Oldest of 6 brothers and 2 sisters, born 12 miles southeast of Osika, Mississippi. Attended school at Tickfaw, Louisiana. Enlisted in Confederate Army on the 1st of December 1862 at Osika, Mississippi. Was in Company F, 144th Confederate Cavalry under Captain Du Montel. In General Forrest's. No way. In General Forrest Cavalry? Are you serious right now? General Nathan Bedford Forrest. Is it the same Forrest or is it a different one? Because he's Tennessee. All right, let's see. 44th. No, he was. So this must just be a different General Forrests. Maybe? See, this is where my lack of Civil War history really shines. This is where I need somebody like vlogging through history or somebody. that knows this stuff like really in depth. Let's see, maybe he fought at Harrisburg, Mississippi, and from Springfield, Louisiana to Memphis, Tennessee. He was never wounded and was discharged 12 May 1865 at Gainesville, Alabama. He was, see, now that doesn't line up with the documentation that we saw that he was a prisoner of war. Well, was it after that date, or I guess maybe... Where was it? Yeah, rolls a prisoner. May 12th. May 12th, 18th. So I guess maybe that was his... Well, yeah, I guess that would have been him being discharged if they become disbanded. Is that the date they have here? May 12th. Okay, so yeah, so I guess he didn't really become a prisoner of war. He just... they surrendered, and then they went home, I guess. or something like that. Once again, great. It'd be great to have Chris here to give me more information. Yeah, born in 1845, died 1935. He walked home to Osika, taking 6.5 weeks for the trip, and was barefoot. Wow. So all the way from Gainesville. Now the thing, was it Nathan Bedford Forrest? Because for those who aren't familiar, Nathan Bedford Forrest is kind of a big figure in the Ku Klux Klan. So that'd be kind of crazy to find a very strong connection between them. But I don't think it is, because he's with, okay, well, 144th Confederate Cavalry. Let's see what that comes up. Okay, they spelled his name. So Charles de Montel. Is that it? This is okay. Let's see what the actual. I'm looking at somebody writing about it when we have these records up here. Okay, 14th Regiment Confederate Cavalry. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, this is. I'm not going to waste everybody's time with me trying to learn about this, but I mean, this is what this is how I do it when I do my research, and I find something interesting, and it's like hone in on that, dive in deep. So, yeah. Was he just a prisoner of war temporarily when they surrendered? See, that's where I'm not quite sure. That's where I feel like someone with a real expertise on the Civil War and like what actually happened with these. That's where the having read 20 plus different books about the Civil War and like the stories about it. That's where it really get good, because like I have some Civil War books, some decent ones, but I've definitely never studied it in depth enough to be like really knowledgeable. Like I'm I guess I might be more knowledgeable than the average person, but nowhere near probably, probably even like social studies teachers and stuff. Like yeah. So, yeah. And he who Forrest Gump was named after. Yeah. Nathan Bedford Forrest. Let's see. General Nathan Bedford Forrest was born 1821 and died 1877. Leslie said different person. So I'm guessing you're saying that the Forrest that the Andrew Everett Spears served under was a different guy. I'm going to go ahead and add in the find grave stuff just to have it. Barthany. I think part of why it's so funny to have Britney Spears is because it's just so similar to Britney Spears. It's almost like making fun of like Britney Spears. Britney Spears, more like Barfany Spears. Sorry. But it is kind of funny, I think. You saved a tree. So now we're getting things kind of built down and out. So, yeah, and I imagine a huge amount of this family probably stayed in this area. Let's see. What do they say for William B., Union, South Carolina? Now let's see. We looked at Civil War history. Now let's see Revolutionary War history. So William B. Spears, Roxanne Delilah Sissom. That's quite a name for an ancestor of someone in music. Because I guess for me, I think of, the song Roxanne, the song Delilah. Now we just need a song named Sissom. Sissom of a Down. All right. Joshua Spears. Spouse Bethany. We need the parents. We need something to show the parents. We need something to show that they are the parents. These people do not have enough. Let us see, what does WikiTree have? I'm kind of curious. What's WikiTree have, and what does Genie have? We're going to do kind of a comparison. Joshua Jackson Spears, Genie. All right, so first, taking a look at Genie.com. Joshua Jackson Spears. Let's see, how am I related to Joshua Jackson? And then when we do that, we'll take a look. Yes, sir. Oh, and they have her going by Bethany, which I think is kind of interesting, being that it's, I've seen more than enough places to show Bethany. Let's see if I want to see if there was any discussion or anything about this. Revisions. All right, so they have Berthenia. All right, well, we know for a fact Bethany is another name at least. Let's just Barthany. Barthania. Oh yeah, let's see, what does the actual gravestone say? Because that's going to be a major part of. Of course. Let's see. Please be better. Please be better. Oh, come on. Barthany. Oh, and I should have looked at the grave. It has her maiden name. Jeez, that's such a non-American thing to do, is have the actual maiden name. Like, that's something I see more with, like, you know, Dutch and Belgians and things like that, where they don't have the married names. They keep the maiden names. But all right, Barthany. Ooh, and we get to see how we're related. Okay, so we're going to do Barthany. And honestly, I question even if Bethany is true, because I feel like the Bethany thing. All right, we're going to, before I change it, I just want to see how long ago. When was this locked? 2020. So there's a merge. Ben did it. Yeah, see, I don't trust the Bethany. I mean, from what I see, everything's to the fact that Bethany was not how she really was. You know, we have the 1870 census shows Bethany, sure, but then 1880 census, 1850 census, 1900 census, her gravestone. You know, I mean, we'd want to see probably a little bit more, because everything we have are records that are not the most contextually strong, aka census records. But granted, we have more census records listing Berthany, aka Barthany, than Bethany. And then with the gravestone too. And this dates back, yeah, I think I'm. Yeah, most people can't do this, but I'm a curator, so deal with it. And we're going to put Bethany down here. Lock that back up. Wait. Okay. Save and close. And I'm just going to add a little discussion. Oh, even better. You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's add some actual documents in here so people can't argue with us. Yes, we know. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's see. So, Berthany, we know that's her. Move. Bethany Spears, we know that's her too. Yeah. So we've got both of those added in. Yeah, I'm just going to add in discussion. Changed the birth name to Berthany, as majority of documentation shows Barthany. What's her actual name? It is unknown if she. Or wait. Show 3 variations of the name. Bethany, Berthany. Record show 3 variations of the name: Bethany, Barthany, and Berthany. Available records. Right. Her gravestone. Written as Barthany. better documentation becomes available to show the proper birth date, please update the name. So this is one of the reasons why I also really like Genie. For those who are not familiar with Genie, is it's a very collaborative site. So this is obviously, these are all different trees built together. And so one of the things that happens is there can be different issues when it comes to things such as names here, so, by a lot of people's standards, if they don't look at the records, they're going to be like, Bethany, I mean, it's probably Bethany. And then they see one record that says Bethany, like, okay, it has to be that. But then from what we're seeing, a lot of records, multiple census records showing Bethany, her gravestone, which is probably one of the biggest pieces of evidence of like, that's probably how she actually went, saying Barthany, which probably indicates that's probably the actual proper spelling. But the way that Genie works is the rule is basically you go for what was the birth name. And then if they went by anything else, then you have other spots. So we have Britney Spears, birth name McKelvin, but then also the also known as, but then there's also display names. So, gosh, I wonder if I should actually change it to Barthany because that's what the actual gravestone says. But I'm not going to worry about it. But so now that I've changed it, and especially because this was something that was locked fields, I don't see why these were locked as a fellow curator who has worked in the, I think these were just kind of locked and just kind of a quick thing. But like looking back on this, it to me, it seems it's Bethany. There's no other records connected. There's nothing else, but I'm starting a discussion so that if there is an issue, if Ben does have an issue or some other person connected has an issue, then they can say it here. But I have at least explained myself in why I have changed the name. So this is kind of the thing is, I feel like some people just get so focused on my tree. I build it. You're wrong. I'm right. Whereas really it's kind of like science. And I mean, this is a science in a sense in that, you're putting forward a hypothesis of based on all of this information, this seems to be the, my conclusion. And then others come in and that hypothesis can change and all of that, so yeah. So, all right. So that wasn't our focus. Our focus was more to kind of see what's going on with the tree. So this is looking at not Bethany, but her husband, Joshua Jackson Spears. So this is what's already built on Genie.com. We can see a whole lot of stuff. So this means that if this line is correct, that Britney Spears is a direct descendant of Edward Diggs, the Colonel Governor of Virginia. And yeah, let's see. So typical deep American family. There's the Sissom line, Roxanne Delilah. We got Captain Thomas Warren, and then we've got the Spears line tracing super far back. Well, look at that. It looks like we have somebody that's got DNA information for this line. Yeah, see, I don't know. I think he kind of went a little overboard with locking stuff. Especially when, let's see, I mean, if it's not a very disputed, there was a lot going on with this, though. Yeah, this one probably, this one may have needed locking. Let's see. Yeah, this might be actually very useful for people that aren't quite sure with Genie, like how do I go back and see what was changed in a profile? Well, this is how you go back. Take a look in the revisions. And then certain things you can do view and see what was changed. Not everything, but certain things. So you can see here that they've updated the date from December 1708 to December 7th, 1708. So, and then what's green is what the current thing is. White means that there has been no change, and red is something that is no longer there and has been changed. So, but I want to take a look at this, because this is the Spears Y DNA line, presumably. So this is telling us Robert Spears, William H. Spears, same group. So these are actual matches. So we have William H. Spears, John Spears. What's Britney's line? How far do we have Britney's line? Oh, wrong tree. Not our tree. We want to look at our tree. We don't care about that other tree. So we have it at Joshua. Let's see where, because I just want to see if maybe anyone's a similar descendant. So John Spears, 1799. So that's not him. All right. I do want to add Joshua Jackson's parents in if possible. All right. So I'm going to show you all a little trick I do to get around some of this stuff sometimes. William B. Spears, 17 June 1850, Union, South Carolina. Date of death, 1830. Wait, what? Oh, 1750. Whoops-a-daisy. Roxanne, you don't have to turn out the red light. Roxanne, Delilah. Hey there, Delilah. What's it like in New York City? She dies Pulaski, Kentucky. All right, so we got that added in. All right, now let's go back and take a quick look-see-poo here. So William H. Spears. Oh, there's a James Henry Spears up there. Is this true? Oh, okay. Who added this? David Creemans. Okay, let's pull this up. I am 253. No, you're not. I am 253. Okay, I am 253. So this is I am 253. The haplogroup of the Spears line. Supposedly, presuming that all of Britney Spears' paternal line is actually correct and does connect however they think it does here. Because the thing is, this guy all the way up to, okay, so Captain John Spears. So who are the ones that we see? We have William H. Spears, 1848, Robert Spears, 1744, John Spears, 1799. So John Spears, 1799 would be somewhere around here. Let's look at this tree. Let us look at this one. See, how long have I been going? I'm going over an hour. All right. Okay. All right. So 1799. Any kids? William Henry Dick. William Billy Spears. this guy. And then actually, while we're doing that, let's look at WikiTree too. Although, geez Louise. Oh, wait, no, maybe I had that because, yeah, of course I had it because it was hard to read. And then we have his Y chromosome. Nothing. We have one person with autosomal descent. All right. So let's see. Let's see if we can locate this John Spears. Just get an idea of where presumably this Y chromosome gets to. Although that Spears is spelled differently, isn't it? It just popped in my yeah, Spears S-P-I. Right, and we have William H. Spears, born 1848. Let's do this. H. Spears. Okay. Birth 1848. John Spears. And when did he die? William H. Spears, 1848 to 1933. There we go. Wait, no. That's not it. That's not him. That's him. William Henry Spears. And we have the Y DNA tied. Oh, yeah, we still haven't looked at how I'm related to Joshua Jackson Spears. Is my 19th cousin exactly. And then the crazy way is obviously through my famous cousin Jill, who had multiple famous husbands. And it goes through that way. But here, my biological connection. And of course, it's to, a lot of my lines trace up this way. Afonso, King of Portugal, and Beatriz de Castella, Queen Consort of Portugal. Reina Consorte de Portugal. Wow. All right. So does William H. Spears, the question is, does William H. Spears connect to Joshua Jackson? So let's actually do it this way. Why am I doing it the hard way? Okay, so this is a whole different Spears line. So I don't know which Spears descendant comes from this line. I'm confused why this person. I wonder if this person just was kind of adding this to every Spears line they could find. Because, I mean, it doesn't seem like this. Yeah, okay. It doesn't seem like this Spears is related to that Spears. Well, now we can trace down to Britney's line. So we're at Joshua Jackson. That's here. So Pascal, we can kind of get a sense of how much is in here. So we got Pascal Green Spears. That goes to June Bacot and then June. Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong spot. June Bacot Spears. June Austin Spears. And then to, where is it? Jamie Spears. And then to Britney Spears. And she is my 19th cousin, 5 times removed. And then she's also my first cousin once removed, ex-husband's father's wife's third great uncle's wife's brother's wife's first cousin 7 times removed. So, we're really close. So, okay, let me check chat. Okay. Let's see. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da. Yeah, Barfany. Yeah. Yeah, I would say the 1860 was an anomaly, as the enumerator probably never heard the name Barthany before, so they just wrote down Bethany if more familiar name. Yeah, and that's one of the issues with the census. That's why the context is key, is because we understand that context of the enumerators were far from perfect and going house by house, really messing things up. And in fact, a great article about census takers is this article by Tammy Heps. Let's see if I can find it. From her, it's she has a blog called Homestead Hebrews, and okay, here it is. And basically, what she found out was that she followed this one enumerator and figured out, by going through the maps and then going house by house and looking at what he did versus the what was written in the one before and the one after and what's known about it, basically she figured out, I think it's all of the following map visualizes Henry's work. So green pins represent census entries that match to another record, and then light red pins may be false negatives, but then it was all the pins outside of the boundary of the households he wasn't supposed to canvass. Yeah, so he screwed up a whole bunch, but then I think he actually made up a lot of stuff. And so she just goes into, it's just so interesting. This is super, super interesting article. And I'm going to post this in chat so everyone can go and read it. Highly, highly recommend it. But it just goes to show that not only were there enumerators getting things wrong here and there, but there were some that were actually lying. So granted, I think that's a pretty big rarity. Leslie said, I told my cousin about my research talking about a great-grandfather named Nimrod. She got all bent out of shape thinking I was making fun of him. No, that was his name. She finally got over it. Yeah. So cousin of Barf from Spaceballs. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually, so what I was going through before, the relationship I have with Britney Spears, the in-law relationship, that's colloquially known as a Spaceballs relationship, which was a term coined by Steve Jaron, a fellow researcher and a cousin in many ways to me, who basically coined the term because of that scene from Spaceballs of, I am your father's brother's sister's former roommate. And, what does that make us? Absolutely nothing. So, yeah, I have family Nimrod too. I've definitely seen the name Nimrod a lot. Charlie is here. Hey, Charlie. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I really need to revisit Genie as a site I might want to pay for. Yeah, Genie is a great site, and I feel like a lot of people downplay it just because they have very minimal experience with it, and that minimal experience wasn't very happy. And unfortunately, with all collaborative work, you're going to run into issues. You're going to run into people that are annoying or abrasive or just downright not someone. I shouldn't say what I was going to say, but just not good people to collaborate with necessarily. And then even people that are decent to collaborate with, sometimes it can be difficult when you have an opinion about something and they have an opposite opinion, and those opinions clash greatly. But personally, I think Genie is just an amazing, amazing site to use. And I also go by the whole idea of cousin bait, where I want to be on every site possible, even if it's a bear tree, just kind of basic, because cousin bait is the idea that the more information you have out on your family tree and all of that, the easier it is for your cousins to find that information and thus find you. Stephen Millsap is here. Welcome, Stephen. Wonderful to have you. 3-year-old won't let me sleep or won't let me nap before job 3, so I'm here enjoying your content. Well, I'm glad you're able to enjoy that. Hopefully you can get maybe a little bit of rest. Maybe I'll put you to sleep a little bit so you can nap a bit. So I don't know, but yeah. Okay. Hi, Irene. Welcome. Thank you for joining as usual. Randomly sing songs when I read something too. Yeah, I do that. I hold myself back from that while I'm doing my while I do my streams. Yeah, sing along with genealogists. That'd be great. Wait, so Britney Spears is Portuguese? Not exactly. She just has family tree that is built enough to the point that she connects into the royal family tree, which literally everyone in the world, most especially everyone who's of European descent, but technically if you get far back enough, you can figure out how everyone in the world is related, but everyone of European descent traces into the royal family trees. And once you trace back that far, you're going to find ancestors all over Europe. So, if you're European, once you get back over 1,000 years, you basically find ancestors everywhere across Europe and even further across the world too. Like I did a video all about that where there was a scientific study where they looked into it, and basically they figured out that everybody that was alive 1,000 years ago in Europe, I think, or was that, maybe it wasn't even Europe, is either 1,000 or 2,000 years ago, but I think what it was everybody that was alive 1,000 years ago that had descendants that, the descendancy continued till this day, they are an ancestor of everybody alive today. So like, yeah, I don't know if I explained that in the best way. You'd have to go watch my video to get the best explanation of it. But yeah, so technically she's Portuguese, but technically it's not like that crazy, because I think it started to show her getting into the Portuguese ancestry in like the 1500s or 1600s. And yeah, I mean, once you're back that far, hundreds and hundreds of years, most everybody with European ancestry is going to be finding lots and lots of jumping all over Europe. Yeah, I wonder where the Spears names comes from. I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see if she did a DNA test, or if someone else, or not her, but if one of her male family members did a Y DNA test, if they would match up with those other Y lineages that we were looking at, the I haplogroup lineages that seem to be multiple different families with variations of the Spears name. And so if they do connect, that'd be really interesting to see, if possible, how far back does that Spears name go? Which line has it the furthest back? Because if they all connect to each other, then presumably they are all connected, truly family. And then even more, that Spears name, whichever one is the furthest back, would be the furthest back all of them could technically go. Okay. Okay, yeah. Name from birth records often have little to do with what was in actual use. A clergyman might use Latin for every name, Johannes for John, Johann, Giovanni, or whatever is the use colloquially. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I feel like that's a common thing to always keep in mind when you're reviewing every record, is understanding the nuances of, naming patterns, how names were actually used, nicknames, and things of that nature. So that is definitely something to keep in mind, that, when you're reading a birth record or even a baptismal record or something near the birth, which contextually that would be the proper name, because that's the name that the parents who gave the birth, or the people who named that baby, assuming the parents didn't name it, would have known for the most part. So it's kind of, the context gives us better confidence of the name, but it doesn't mean, like you say, that was the name that they actually used, but it often would be the name that you'll commonly find on records. It's the proper name. So not always, but yeah, that is a big thing. So, the birth name may be Johannes, but then most of the records you're finding otherwise could be Giovanni, or could even be a mixture of all of them, or even others. And then especially when you have people moving around through different borders, or the borders moving around on them, you could have names changing that way as well. Um, I've never found any royal ancestors. I'm inbred like a European royal, but without any of the grandeur. Yeah, it's just a matter of finding that one ancestor that you're able to break through the brick wall, and that leads you to a really well-built family tree that just already connects into it. So, that's often how a lot of people have it with their royal trees is, for most people, I feel that do find the connection to the royal tree, it's only a handful at most of connections to it. So it's like through one specific line, they're able to find a connection, or maybe, 2 or 3 or so. But I feel like it's rare that you find people where they have tons and tons of lines connecting into the royal trees, because usually if that's the case, I feel like most of those people are already probably, living in a noble family or a royal family that, they have the title still, they have a lot of that. But what happens with the family members that, like the youngest son of that king, and then his youngest son, and then their youngest son, and within a few generations, you're looking at people that were the great grandchild or the great great grandchild of kings and queens, and they hold no or very low titles. And then the other parts of the family where they kept marrying into the trees, and the older ones where it's we need this king, this prince to marry that princess to bring these alliances and whatnot. And so maybe you'll find yours one day. My sister found 5 common ancestors for my parents. Yeah. Not easy for Scandinavians. None of their royals were actually from there, and not a lot of mobility in society. Yeah, I mean, it's going to vary by population group, I think. I've found presidents, connections to Henrico, Virginia, and some connections to royals from different countries. Yeah, I think it's a lot of people. Yeah. An Ariel star, I found one line with royal connection, but I have to say I'm a novice, and some of my research could be skewed by mistakes in research. Honestly, even if you're not a novice, I've seen a lot of experts that'll make mistakes for various reasons. I mean, I've seen a lot of experts where, they have an amazing expertise in a lot of these different, population groups that they research. Then they start doing some research into a population group they're unfamiliar with, and they're just so unfamiliar with that population group that they come to conclusions that are wrong because of their previous experience and going off of that. So, like I know a common thing that, and I think I mentioned it a little bit before, a common thing that a lot of Dutch genealogists get really frustrated with Western genealogists about are maiden names. Because if you look at Dutch family trees, most of them do not have married names for the women. They use the maiden names, and they get really frustrated when they find all of these trees that are Dutch trees built by Americans or English or Australians or Canadians or, other English speaking world people, where they have it with the maiden names because that's what our culture is used to. And for them, it's really frustrating because it's like, you're not going to find a document with that name for them. You'll find them with their husband who has that name, but they're going to keep their maiden name, and so that's kind of one of the things, so it's like, I guess it's a little bit different in a sense of, just making little mistakes here and there. But, as long as you're or not identifying, but as long as you're making note of and, identifying the fact that you may have mistakes in there, that's the best way to go about it. Because as you keep doing your research, keeping an open mind like that will allow you to notice something that you go, you know what? Let me look into that further and just make sure that's correct. Let's see. All right, let me jump back to the tree because I haven't been building much. And where are we at? Let's see. An hour and a half. So yeah, I'm only going to go a little bit further. So let's do this. So we're going to do another poll, and this is going to be on YouTube. What should we do next? So we're either going to continue on the Spears line or change to 2 3, or 4. So that's looking at the grandparents. So basically, do we continue building the Spears line, or do we switch to start building on number 2, number 3, or number 4? So, well, no matter what, it looks like we're definitely going to be doing a new line. It's just a question of which line. It's a tight race between the paternal grandmother and the maternal grandmother. Oh, we're starting to get a few more people coming in. A few people saying they want to have the Spears line continue. So for anyone jumping into the stream that aren't quite familiar, right now on YouTube. So if you're watching on Twitch or Facebook, which I know that we do have a good amount of people on both. On our YouTube stream right now, there is a poll about should we continue on the Spears line or start researching one of the other grandparents. That being 2 is Emma Jean Forbes, 3 is Barney O'Field Bridges, and 4 is Lillian Irene Portell. We only have 14 votes so far, but we've got 51 people on the YouTube stream. So we need a few more people answering that question. So, definitely put in your vote. Let me read some more chats while we do that. Ancestry can't handle patronymic naming systems and never generates hints and doesn't like adding fathers with different surnames. Yeah, Ancestry, if they updated their naming field stuff to add just a few more fields, I think it would make it so much easier to do a lot of non-English speaking country research. Really make a big difference. Let's see. Yeah, I'm researching an Austro-Hungarian tree, and it's a name mess. People are referred in Latin, German, Italian, Slovenian. I never know which to put as the main name. Yeah, and this is another one of the reasons why, for me, I just absolutely love Genie. Because with Genie, and I'm going to pull up a good one to show you all. With Genie, you can put in multiple name variations. So if you find a name for somebody and it's, you're getting multiple ways to spell it, by putting in the different variations, you get a lot. I'm trying to find a good example of one. And I do see some more votes coming in. Wow, continue on the Spears line is now tied with researching the paternal grandmother, Emma Jean Forbes. So we definitely have to wait for a couple more votes to come in because 2 tied. But we have the paternal grandmother or maternal grandmother coming in 3rd at 25%. I wish, is there a way for me to show this on the screen? No, it doesn't. All right. Okay, perfect. Here we go. So a great example. Here we have it's not even telling me. I think it's my 6th or 7th great grandfather, Jacob Nunes Vaz. Let's reload this. Oh no, don't tell me don't lose connection. Okay, I see I'm still moving on the stream, at least on my end. Okay, let's stop that. All right, it doesn't matter. So we get to see what we need. So we have his name, Jacob Abraham Nunes Vaz, the maiden name spelled in the Italian way, which technically I could do it a little bit differently, which I'll show how. But then we have his Hebrew name, Yaakov ben Abraham Nunes Vaz, and then his Dutch name, Jacob Nunes Vaz, spelled in the Dutch way, V-A-A-S. But this is where the beauty comes in is we have all of this different stuff. We have his name, Jacob Abraham Nunes Vaz, birth surname, Nunes Vaz, V-A-I-S. Display name is Jacob Nunes Vaz with V-A-Z because that's kind of the way most of his descendants spelled it. And then the 1-1 is the genealogical numbering system I have, but then also known as Yaakov ben Abraham, Jacob Abraham Nunes Vaz. But then we have, here's the Hebrew option. So we have the Yaakov ben Abraham, which is technically the patronymic, but we use the middle name here. And then Nunes Vaz, so the last name. And then we have the Dutch, Jacob Nunes Vaz. And then if we wanted to add more, so like, you know, he has the Italian spelling. When am I missing it? Oh, there we go. So the Italian spelling, so Jacob Abram Nunes Vaz. And so there's the Italian spelling. So we save that. And then that comes up. So we have all of the different names. So this is one of the beauties of Genie, where you're dealing with something that Luam, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correct. If I'm mispronouncing it, feel free to post it in chat. I'll take a look. But something like you're talking about, Austro-Hungarian, you've got Latin name, German, Italian, Slovenian. And then on top of that, not only will you have the multiple names, but then you have the variations of the transcribed spelling. So, you know, we have Yaakov ben Abraham Nunes Vaz, which is why under also known as Yaakov instead of just Jacob. So you get a lot of that extra nuance that you can add in there without it looking like a clunky mess, like so many trees on Ancestry and My Heritage and elsewhere really do, which My Heritage has adopted some of this stuff. I can't remember exactly how in depth they've adopted a lot of that, but they've adopted some stuff from Genie because My Heritage acquired Genie, and they're, you know, technically like a parent company sort of thing. But yeah, so that's super useful. All right, let's see. 4, let's go 4s. Ironicles and Sardonicles. I haven't seen you yet in the stream. Welcome if you just jumped in. Let's see. Okay. Ascertain, can you read Hebrew? I can read Hebrew. I just can't understand it. So like phonetically I can read it. And I like to say that I can phonetically read Hebrew probably like an elementary school kid maybe, or something like that. Like I can phonetically sound it out pretty well, and there's certain words that, you know, I can kind of jump through like that. But there are other words that, you know, it's pretty difficult for me. And then I know so few, like I couldn't actually translate what a lot of the words I say are. I know a lot of words, more than maybe the average Reformed Jew, because a lot of Reformed Jews I feel like are kind of like me. They can read Hebrew because they were taught how to read it for their bar mitzvahs and things like that. And for those that did confirmation, probably know a bit more. But for the most part, like, we can't speak Hebrew. We only know basic words that are things that are like, you know, Beth means house, Abba means dad, Ima means mom, you know, Shalom means peace, hello and goodbye, and, you know, things like that, but not much beyond that. So yeah. Rosa says, Genie sounds super useful. Good evening from the Netherlands. Yes. Well, good evening, Rosa. And it is extremely useful. And I will say one of the biggest representations of a population on Genie is actually the Netherlands. The Dutch and Belgian representation on Genie is extremely well done. We have a lot of curators who are from the Netherlands and Belgium and elsewhere around the Low Countries. And you know, we even have, I think we have like some Frisian the curators, you know, so we have like, you know, curators that are not just from those areas, but like representation of the different areas. So yeah, if you're not on Genie, definitely get on there. Oh yeah, let me check the poll. I haven't checked the poll. Really? Wow. Okay. So, I mean, at this point, I guess I'll just have to end it, but the poll, it's continue on the Spears line won by 4 with 40%. And then 2 and 4 came tied next, and then 3. So we had a bunch of people jump in and just said, keep tracing that Spears line. So I guess that's what we'll do. We'll keep tracing that Spears line. We took a peek at it through Genie, but Okay, so we've got William B. Spears, Revolutionary War roles. So Revolutionary ancestor, I'm assuming. So let's see if we can maybe find him some like Daughters of the DAR stuff. William B. Spears. Wait, no. Da 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 ba 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 da 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 da. Oh wait, no. No records found. All right. All right, let's look at all collections then. Oh wait, no. Sometimes they make it kind of annoying to search their sites. All right. Where was he fighting? South Carolina. All right, so if this is anybody. No, not him. If him. Interesting. All right, let's look at this record. Oh, well, this might not be him. I didn't even look at that. William Spears, North Carolina. Granted, he's born in South Carolina, so it's not not out of the cards that he did that, but William Spears. 1750. Now, was he actually Joshua's father? What have we accepted? Have we accepted anything? No. So this is questionable because I just noticed that William and Roxana were 67 when Joshua was born, which isn't, impossible, but it sure as hell seems quite unlikely, especially for the mother to be 67. It doesn't disprove anything. It sure as hell doesn't prove it. Coffee. The reason why I laugh at that is because one of the YouTubers that I'm building their family tree, he descends from the Coffee family. And the story I'm writing for that one is a Civil War story. So, all right. Name of deceased, Nanny C. Coffee. Father's name, William Tilford. Mother's name, Delilah Spears. Date of death, 1919. Date of birth, 1870. Yeah, I don't even know if this is actually. I don't think this is actually her. I mean, right now, I'm really not seeing any strong documentation proving any of this. I mean, we have a GeneaNet tree. We have a Kentucky death record that does not line up. I mean, William Tilford and Delilah Spears. I mean, Delilah Spears matches up, but it sure does not make sense, especially when this person is dying, born 1870. Whoever did this, I think, was thinking that this was the death certificate for Delilah Spears. Because, I mean, Delilah cannot, I mean, you can look at this. You can already tell this is off. We got two William Enoch. Yeah, this is one of those spots where we're dealing with people doing bad research and adding a lot of stuff that has nothing behind it. Okay, we got 2 comments here. Let's see what comments people left. Yeah, because it isn't correct. Yeah, because it isn't correct. But then again, we've got this problem of, well, it's not correct. This is her tree. She knows it. She should fix it. Although I guess no, yeah, this is, yeah. Why not fix the tree? Because if it's not correct, at least make it private. Because this is the issue with Ancestry, and one of the reasons why I love Genie once again is because this is the best you can do. If you find trees that are incorrect, the best you can do is add a comment and say this is incorrect, and you can email the person running the tree and ask them to change it or whatever. But if they don't change it, not only is this going to stay up, I mean, obviously we found it. This is tied as a record to other trees, I'm sure. Like, let's see this one. I bet you anything this Leets tree is one of the ones quoted. Oh, it's not. It's not as other ones. But once again, we just got more that have Kentucky death record. Let's see. Are any of the Leets in this one? Not in this one. We have a lot more. I mean, it's so much stuff. Now let's see this one. This one's 13 sources. And this is ridiculous. This is bad research. This is just bad people taking bad research and copying the bad research and then copying it again and copying it again. And now there's so many copies of that research. That's what we were even finding on Genie, if I remember correctly. So let's see. I bet I could find it by going to Britney Spears' page. Britney Spears. Okay. Okay. So up to Roxana, and yeah, so up to here. So up to William B. Spears. Wait, look at that. Wait a second. Let's take a quick look at this again. I think we might have caught it. Look at this. So yeah, so somebody's added this stuff in wrong. And because of that, because I did the quick and dirty method, now we've got these added in incorrectly. So what we're going to do, we're going to get rid of them. They're not going to be gone from the tree. They're just not connected as the parent. So now they're a floating tree. So presumably this should be the correct thing, which makes much more sense in terms of the ages. So we have Joshua J. and then Martha Watson. So now that we've taken those out, let's see if we can find anything. Joshua J. Martha Watson. Well, here we have Louisiana U.S. compiled. So this would be the parents getting married, 1815, matches up perfectly with the birth. So that seems to be likely. So I'm just going to add that. We're going to see what records jump in. Joshua Spears. Martha Watson. Yeah, so it didn't change the hints here. We're still at 7. Let's see if it changed any of this. Okay, so now we have different suggestions from people. And let's see what type of documentation they have. So Louisiana marriage, nothing. Okay, actually, let's jump up straight up to Joshua Spears. Let's see if he got any hints. Got 1, which I'm guessing is other trees. Oh, wow. I just noticed there's a ton of questions in chat. So I'll jump over to chat in a second. All right. So, okay. Now look at that. Now we're getting something that can give us a bit of confidence. Okay. So that's illegible, but maybe we can find it. All right. Obituary, Martha Watson, 1898. Born 1795. So let's see if we can find that. Now, is it Martha Watson or Martha Spears? Because we may be dealing with, that looks like Martha Watson. So are we dealing again with just somebody just saying, oh, Martha Watson, that must be her? But being that it's an article, we should at least get enough detail to get an idea. All right, what was the date? 20th of May, 1898. Where was this at? York County, South Carolina. All right, so let's. Oh, gosh. Glitching out. What was it? I keep going back and forgetting. May. Seriously? right, so maybe it's not one that's searchable on here. Let's try another site. We're going to go to Fulton Search. Wait. It's like I thought I was searching in there. All right. No, not newest, oldest. Unless that is the oldest. Yeah, maybe there just isn't that much. Did they change it around? Because I thought that New York Library set up their own search system of it. All right. I don't know. Let me jump into the chat because there's been so much stuff going on. Okay. A lot of talk about Dutch records, which is always great. This is an interesting question. What do you think of the role of AI in making handwritten records more accessible? Do you see more applications of AI in genealogy? So yeah, actually, I'm going to be giving a presentation to the Center of Jewish History on Monday, and the presentation is all about the future of genealogy, and AI is a massive part of that. So the OCR technology, optical character recognition, which is just, an artificial intelligence version of reading, text on images, is advancing, and now handwriting is becoming a big part of it. I was actually posting on my Twitter about it the other day because I was using Transcribus, which is a site that is like the site right now when it comes to handwritten documents. If it'll load. So yeah, this is the site, Transcribus. Won't let me go to it without trying to log me in. But yeah, so that site's great. So I mean, that's going to make things so much better because right now, while digitization has ramped up to the point that everywhere people are digitizing stuff like crazy, but the difficulty now becomes once it's digitized, it needs to be transcribed. A lot of it needs to be translated, and then that needs to be searchable indexes and things like that, because that's how it's going to really make a big difference. And so these OCR technologies, and most especially the handwritten ones, are going to be the things that make that so much easier. So like when the 1950 census came out, I think it was Family Search was boasting about being able to get it up online and available to search in no time because of OCR technology. And I think even I think there were other groups that did similar stuff with the 1950 census. So it's going to be a big difference. But beyond just OCR technology, I mean, ChatGPT does have a lot of uses, and not really in a research sort of way, but more of in a organizational sort of way. Is the way I like to think of it. So like, with AI, it can help you, ChatGPT can be a great way of like, hey, I just learned about this. Can you tell me great sources to learn more about this historical thing or this other historical thing? And also, it can read a lot of data. So, if you have, let's say you have a whole bunch of information that you get that, you could go through and figure out certain things from it, but instead you could copy it, put it in Chat GPT, and with the proper prompt, you could get it to, let's say there's a whole bunch of data about families living in an area. You say, extract all of the names of the people that are listed here and create a chart where it shows their name along with their age and the town that they're from. And so then you can create a chart out of big things of data or stuff like that. And then the other thing with AI is facial recognition is going to be big. Right now, there's a lot of different groups working on different facial recognition stuff for genealogy, but a lot of them are very hesitant about it just because all of them know about the ethical issues with facial recognition. But like Family Search even utilizes facial recognition already, where they have a tool where you can basically compare a face. I think that's what it's called, compare a face. But what I see the future with that being is that I think we'll reach a point where there will be databases of images where you upload an image of your ancestor and then it gives you results of images that it thinks may be the same person. So it's already been proven, obviously, to work. And then, a lot of companies like MyHeritage uses the facial recognition technology, but they don't use it for actual facial recognition. They use it for, a lot of their fun sort of photo cleanup tools, the colorization tools, the animation tools, I forgot what it's called, but they have that tool where you can upload a bunch of photos of yourself, and then it'll create all of these different images of you in likenesses of certain eras of time and stuff. So, yeah, yeah, a lot of cool stuff with that. All right, gosh, there's so many chats I missed. Oh yeah, Discord. Good Discord shout out. Also in the Discord, we were talking about Transcribus, an AI image transcriber that seems to work already. Yeah, it does work really well. Excuse me. Like I showed before, it has, well, actually, I just showed the website. Let me see if I can go ahead and log in and kind of show everyone what it looks like real quick. But one of the things with it is that it has all of these different. Now it's the actual site. So the way that it works is it has all of these different models. So basically, what AI is it's just artificial intelligence, and that just means that we're artificially making computers able to do intelligent tasks, I guess you could say. That's probably not the best description of it, but the way to do it is you give it information and it slowly learns from that information. So when it comes to these handwriting models, the way that it works is people will give this system a whole bunch of information. So they upload a bunch of documents of a certain type of handwriting in a certain language or a certain print, and then they give it those images along with the actual, this is what it is. This is what it's saying. And then the system goes in and takes that information to learn, okay, so this letter looks like this, and this letter looks like this, and so on and so forth. And then you get very specific models so that, if you have German handwriting, it probably makes a lot more sense to put it through this model than to put it through a print model that, it's really good for these types of prints, but it's not going to be good for handwriting, and it's not going to be, it's not. Yeah. So you can it has all these different models where you can see, how many words are in the model. So like this is one of the big ones, the Duchess, which is a Dutch printed version, but I believe it does include handwriting too. So, okay, yeah, I guess 4 major handwriting. So it gives you the information, 17th, 18th, 19th century Dutch language, Latin alphabet script. It tells you the engine they're using, it's handwritten material, and then all you do, you upload documents to the website, and then it does that. So I'm going to log in. And we're going to actually go over to the app. Well, I already logged in. Okay. So I put through a few different ones, and so here's one of those. And this is what I posted about on my Twitter. So this is records from the Portuguese Jewish community of Amsterdam. This record specifically is from 1539. And this is a record of the Jews from the Portuguese Jewish community of Amsterdam sending money to Jews living in what was known as Eretz Israel, or present-day Palestine, Israel. And we have all of these different, the money they're sending. Here we can see, here's money being sent to Jerusalem. Here's money to Safed. Here's money to Hebron. Here's money to Berea. And then here's a huge list. Here's the people in Jerusalem and how much they're reading. So all of these people, these are all people living in Jerusalem, and then the money that they're receiving. And then you're getting kind of more of a breakdown of just different people. And just, so what it's doing is it's going through and it's translating it. So when we hover over it, you can see how it's kind of doing these like little text, sort of, it's picking it out. So we click it and it takes us there and it shows us. So this is what it's read. So, you know, it's got this EAO Haran, which that actually is Hazan. So this is Hazan Joseph Salam. So for those who are unfamiliar, Hazan is like a singer in the synagogue, the cantor. And then we have, is that the Chacham? That might be the Chacham. Maybe not. But and then just a bunch of others. So, but it's going through, and you can see that while it is pretty good, it's not the best. You know, it's definitely, some stuff is coming in not so great. You know, some is great. You know, like here, Amsterdam, the N, I mean, that definitely looks like an N. You know, it definitely looks like an N. But like here, Dos Abraham Abuas de Veneza. And you can see that it's kind of, you know, it's like throwing in all sorts of stuff. So like there's a little accent mark here above the A, and they think that's a period. So there's a Abvaf, but really that's not ABVAF, that's ABOAF, I think, or it's ABUAF. Yeah. So, but you know, that's how it works. And so I put in a bunch of, you can upload a bunch of records at once. So I uploaded, you know, a bunch of these different lists all together. So here's another one of these lists, but this is from a few years later. I'm trying to remember what year this is. I think this is like 1550 something. So yeah, it's 15 years later. So it'd be like 1554 or 1654ish or so. Yeah, actually 1654, because this is the same year that Baruch Spinoza was kicked out. But so you can see here that writing is much easier to read. And so they're saying they're sending money, dinero from the KK, the Kahal Kados, and it's through Mandateras Empresas, I think it is. But basically, Terra Santa was the name. So Terra S, so that's Terra Santa, and that was the group, or not the group, but basically they had a I guess you could call it like a committee within the community that handled sending money to Israel, and they were called Terra Santa because Israel was often referred to as Terra Santa. And so you can even see here the Terra Santa. So Namera, okay, Jerusalem, whatever. So, and then you see, I mean, these are all the people, and they're receiving, you know, their money. So we have Jacob receiving probably, that's 3 guilders, Isaac Dion receiving 2.5, Haham Venado, Haham Joseph Salam. So that same Chazan we saw from before. Yeah. So just, yeah, there we go. Transcribus. All right, let me go through some more of these. You haven't seen the YouTube voting. Yeah, I'm not sure how it's coming up. I mean, it's on my end, it was showing people were voting on it, so I assume they saw it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try to do it more now that I've kind of figured it out. All right, let's see. Interesting. I didn't know that. Family Search has the feature to add alternate names and alternate naming conventions or languages. That's great to hear because as far as I knew, Genie was the only one. Not perfect, but better than Ancestry. So, okay. Am I going to Roots Tech? Yes, I will be at Roots Tech. I'm giving 2 talks. One of the talks is at like 8 a.m. in the morning, which I asked them if they could change it. I don't know if they will because things are pretty set, but I'm not a morning person, not by one bit. But I will be at Roots Tech, and I'm looking forward to it very much. Yeah. I love ChatGPT for writing biography based on facts provided. Yeah, that's a great way to utilize ChatGPT as well. Is there's like an AI bot called the Summarizer, the genealogy summarizer, I think. And in fact, actually, honestly, if anyone wants to learn a lot more about genealogy and AI, this is the site to check out. This is a site by why can't I think of his name right now? Stephen Little. It took me a second to think of that, but this is a site run by Stephen Little, and he is one of the people at the forefront of genealogy and AI and understanding how to properly use it. And he has this list of genealogy bots, and there's the genealogy summarizer, which is kind of not exactly what Brian's talking about, but very similar in that basically you upload information, documents, text, whatever, and then it summarizes it for you in a genealogically useful way. But this is also a great way to use ChatGPT for genealogy is, for a lot of people, it is hard to take this raw information and turn it into an interesting narrative. And so ChatGPT is a way where you can put in a bunch of information and say, please write a biography about these people. And you can put all sorts of stuff in the prompt. So like one thing that I know people will do is they could say, using this information, please write a biography about this person while also making note of famous events that were happening at the same time. And there's different ways to play around with prompts and stuff like that. And that's where, going and reading the articles by Stephen and watching his talks as well as Blaine Bettinger's talks, they kind of go into, how to use prompts and use it properly to get the right information. But yeah, another great way for to use Chat GPT. Is this Transcribus free or paid for? It is free. There is a paid version, and I think with the free version, there is a limitation to it. Basically, it's one of those sites where they give you like 200 credits or something like that, and until you can use the credits as much as you want. And I think that it's still limited. Like certain models are behind the paywall, but yeah, so it is mostly free, but it's not completely free, I guess would be a way to say it. So you'd be able to. I think it's 1 credit for every page you upload to Transcribe. So basically, you get 200 pages to upload to Transcribe for free. So no, this is not Ladino. This is Portuguese. Ladino was a very specific language to Eastern Sephardic Jews. This is Western Sephardic Jews. This is actually a common misconception with Sephardic Jews is everything that's Portuguese-ish or Spanish. People will be like, oh, Ladino, but it's not. And with the Western Sephardic community, very specifically the Amsterdam community, this is not Ladino. Not at all. This is actual Portuguese. It's slightly different than old style Portuguese because it's old Portuguese that was then taken to Amsterdam and continued by those descendants where there was a common, connection to Portugal. People still went to Portugal, even though, it wasn't allowed technically. And there was a harem in the community from going to Portugal. So like we find harems from the community of people that went to Portugal and Spain because it wasn't allowed. And for those that aren't familiar, harem is basically, it's kind of like you're not allowed to do that sort of thing. And then when someone is, convicted of a harem, they have to receive a punishment. It's not always like banishment or anything like that. Sometimes it's, it's just other stuff. It's just pay a fine or things like that. So not Ladino, but Portuguese, actual Portuguese. Yeah, is it true that Ladino has some Italian in it? I honestly don't know. I don't. Part of it, I specialize really in the Western Sephardic diaspora, and while I do specialize in the Sephardic diaspora overall, technically, I don't have that in depth of a understanding of Eastern Sephardic history to know the history of Ladino. But yeah, it'd be interesting to find out. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, my understanding is Ladino is basically just kind of like it's kind of like a mixture of Portuguese and Hebrew and whatever they were speaking in the Ottoman Empire at that time. I'm not quite sure. So yeah. Terra Santa literally means Holy Land. Thank you. Okay. Great. About to leave, but the map should be from Cadiz, if I'm not mistaken. Gina, you are not mistaken. It's been 6 minutes, so you may have left, but you are correct. I can finally change the map behind me. This is Cadiz. Specifically, this is actually, I usually go for actual maps. And this is, well, it is a map. It's technically, because you can see all the ships on both sides. I think it's the 1702 Battle of Cadiz. So it's a battle map. But yes, you are correct. Interesting. There is a WikiTree browser add-on that will create a biography for you based on the information you provide and from the sources. That's really cool. That's interesting. Let's see. MyHeritage has a new tool for writing a biography with AI. I tested it and it worked really well. Yeah, MyHeritage also rolled out an AI that's a research AI, and I played with it, I think, on the last stream a bit. And if I remember correctly, it wasn't that great. It basically was just a fancy-looking search engine in a sense. How good is your Portuguese, Jarrett? Need help translating? My Portuguese is not that great. In terms of translating, I probably need help a lot. But I have a ton of people I already use. So, I do. I mean, I think I've posted every once in a while, I've posted something in the Discord server just saying, hey, anyone want to help me with this one? But yeah. So, dang, I said Gibraltar last stream. I was off by a few miles. Okay, yeah. I think I saw you say Gibraltar, but I think I was confused why. And it must have been one of these moments where it was like going through chat just to check everything. So, all right. So, okay. I think with that, because I literally just caught up with chat, and I feel like we've built a lot, and looking at Genie as well, we're seeing a lot. So, just to kind of take a look for those that maybe didn't see, we did get a good amount of stuff built out here for Britney Spears' tree. Definitely went pretty far in this tree. Granted, we did have that issue of questions right there, and we did change it. So definitely built it out. But now I do want to remind everybody that what we will be doing now that, the stream is coming to an end is for Discord, we will be starting these celebrity family trees. So it's going to be these forums down here. And they're not open yet. I see Charlie's already over here. So Charlie, if you're listening, if you want to go ahead and get everything opened up and set up for me, that'd be great. But basically what we're going to do is if you want to continue talking about the tree that we built today, continue researching yourself, looking at these ancestors, hop on over to Discord that, the celebrity family trees for it. And, you'll be able to continue there with everybody else. And then, of course, if you want to go back to the other streams, the other celebrities we've built, jump in and, start talking there. Because we did get a lot of different community chats and genealogy chats after those streams related to those celebrities. And I thought it'd be great. Let's have stuff people can directly jump into. And I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of stealing the idea from WikiTree because WikiTree had it where, all of the different weeks that they do their WikiTree challenge, they have it where people, go and do it together there. So yeah, just a little aside there. But otherwise, thank you so much, everybody, for joining the stream today. As always, it was a ton of fun. I think I ended up going way longer than I usually do. I think I'm almost at 2.5 hours now. So yeah, but next stream is going to be on Tuesday. It's going to be question answer from Reddit stream on the Professional Reaction channel. And then next week, we'll figure out what we're going to do. I'm considering doing something, not another celebrity tree for next week. Not to say I'm stopping celebrity trees, but my mom being one of the many people that were saying, yeah, you should try it. The trees are fun, but you should do something else, kind of like the geography stuff or the tier ranking stuff. So I'm going to try to think of something fun for that. But in the meantime, I still will be trying to think of the next celebrity to do, which Bill Ackman is kind of high on my list because I found out he has Dutch Jewish ancestry, although I did take a quick look at it and there's a question mark there about if it's at his actual ancestry or the ancestry of a step great grandparent or something like that. But either way, probably going to do a poll for that stuff. So if there are other celebrities that you want me to include in the poll, which I did see some coming through today, let me know. And if I see any that really pique my interest, I'll probably throw them in the poll. But otherwise, thank you so much, everybody, for joining the stream. And hopefully you all enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'll see you all on the next one.